and Daniel Puder?
I was in a very awkward situation. At that point, I couldn't do 5 push-ups. I was really, really bad shape. My neck was really bad. And Vince asked me to do this. He wanted me to wrestle all of them. I wasn't worried about Puder. Actually, Puder's a pud. Man, he was the last guy. I was more worried about the 2 big guys. One guy looked like Jeremy Shockey and the big black kid. Because I weighed about 207. My body was deteriorating. My neck was killing me. And the first kid I wrestled, I got him in a front headlock and I pushed him over. When I did, I jammed my head into the canvas and both of my arms went completely numb and I pinned the kid. And I didn't want to do any more, but I opened my mouth and I said, "Who else wants some?" And nobody would raise their hand. And then a fan started looking over at them, so Puder was like, "I'll do it," you know. So I said, "Come on in," and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this because I can't even feel my arms right now. So we get in there, and they start it, and I take a half-ass shot because I'm scared to death of my neck. And when he backed out of it, the fans cheered. And I was like, geez, I barely even, attacked him. So every time I attacked him, he'd back into the corner, back into the corner, back in the corner. And the more it went on, the more my hands started slowly, like I couldn't even close them. So I ended up getting him. I had him in a single leg, and I went to change to a double leg, and he grabbed the rope. When he grabbed the rope, I reached around my back to get him off the rope, and that's when he got me in the armbar. Now, I had him, and all I had to do, and I would never do it because I don't want to hurt any of the guys, I could have thrown him right on his head because both of his hands were locked. So all I had to do is go backward and just throw him right on his head, break his neck, boom. Instead, I brought him in the middle of the ring, and you can see it on video. I dropped him my knee, and I dropped him nice and easy to his back. Now he starts cranking. And the whole thing was, it wasn't supposed to be an ultimate fighting contest. It was a wrestling match. But there was supposed to be submission. But he was a moron. He put his back on the mat, and it wasn't supposed to be a 1, 2, 3 count. It was only supposed to be a 1 count. So the referee did a 3 count. I think Puder might have kicked it 3. But the whole thing was, it was an amateur wrestling match. All you have to do is hit the mat once. And Puder was flat on his back. Right. So when the ref went down, he was pinned. And when he got up, we didn't exchange words. I said, "You know what? You're a stupid son of a bitch." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because you pinned yourself." I said, "You had me in an arm bar." I said, "This isn't an ultimate fighting competition." I said, "This was a wrestling match." And he goes, "Well, you're allowed submission." I said, "Yeah, but you pinned yourself, you stupid bastard." I said, "Now get out of my ring." That's what I told him. Basically, he pinned himself. So, so the story, the thing is, Puder, he was a piece of work, too. I saw him about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after that, and he was at the airport in San Jose or somewhere around there. We were having a pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble. And I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "Well, I'm in the main event." I said, What main event?" He said, "I'm in the Royal Rumble." I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. He's in the main event. The Royal Rumble's not the main event, you freaking moron. Basically all they did was chop the shit out and throw him over the top rope. Right. Because he was a horrible wrestler. We couldn't do anything with Daniel. He couldn't cut a promo. Right now I know he's having success in the MMA world. He's 5-0, but tell me one guy he's fought. His manager's been very, very particular about who he fights, and most of the guys are not that good. So I don't know what he's holding out to do. I think if he wants to become a major player in the MMA business, he needs to start fighting some names. But I think he's scared to. But no, I think that Daniel Puder became an overnight name because of what happened with him and me.
Was there ever any talks about turning that into an angle at all, or no?
Yeah, and I was all for it. I wanted to help Daniel. I wanted to, if he would have caught on, as we were expecting him to, we would have had a great angle. I was even considering doing the job for him, which would have been crazy for a guy his first year, but he just was so bad at wrestling that we had to let him go. And at one point, he was, the actual reports coming in were that he was so bad that Vince knew he wasn't going to keep him after the first year. He was going to, he was supposed to win, what, $1 million?
Right.
And it was, what, $250 a year? But Vince had a clause in his contract that he could lower that amount to whatever he wanted. So Vince reduced it to like 75 the second year, and Daniel was like, without knowing money, he said, you're not what we expected you to be.
Right.
So Puder got all upset, and Vince is like, we really don't need you.
Huh.
So it didn't work out, and it's a shame because him and I could have had a really good angle. But, Daniel thought he was better than he was, and he thought that, he thinks that the WWE screwed him over, and, he thinks that...
He's made challenges too, right, for MMA?
Yeah, I would have taken him in a second. It's just that Dana White, he had an idea of him, Puder and I going at it, but Dana told me I had to quit wrestling.
Right.
I can't quit wrestling. It's my livelihood, and Dana offered me a great deal, thank God. But he said, you have to quit wrestling. I said, Dana, I just left WWE. TNA was there for me. I can't go back to Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett, and tell him I'm not going to wrestle.
Right.
I said, I can do them both. I can even take time off wrestling and just train full time for you. He said, I can't have a wrestler fighting. And I said, I respect your wishes. I said, that's fine, Dana. So it kind of got kiboshed, and then he tried to, he kept trying to work it on the internet. Kurt Angle's dodging me. I'm doing a challenge. I would have fought. He would have been the first person I would have fought, but I wanted a certain amount of money from any of the groups. The IFL, the Pro Elite XC, UFC. There was a certain amount of money I wanted. If I wasn't going to get it, I wasn't going to fight. And I wasn't going to chance what I have in professional wrestling. I make great money here, thank God. I'm not going to put that in jeopardy by fighting and possibly getting injured. So you got to pay me a certain amount of money. If you can't pay it, then I'm not going to do it. And that's why I've had such a hard time signing to these groups, is because some of them wanted to rush me into it, whether it was the IFL, they wanted to hurry up and they wanted me ready in 9 weeks for a pay-per-view. That means I have 9 weeks to tell my company, TNA, that I need all that time to train, and there's no way they can write me off the show in one day. So I won't be able to train, and they just wanted me and Ken Shamrock to get in there and lock it up, and then like Pro Elite XC, they were offering me a good bit of money, but it wasn't what I asked for, so they offered me money in stock. And I was like, I don't want stock.
Right.
I either money or I don't do it. And then Dana wanted me to quit wrestling entirely. So it wasn't like Kurt Angle was going out there and testing the waters. I was seriously trying to get in any of the companies